Thank you very much, of course, dear viewers, for joining us on to this wonderful segment, this positive part. As usual, this is where we come to educate you health-wise to make sure that you learn one or two things concerning our health life. And of course, today we're tackling a very wonderful topic, that is autism and also cerebral palsy, and try to look what exactly causes this and maybe how we can be able to manage this condition. And of course, in our studio today we have very wonderful guests. I have two guests with me. I have Madam Beatrice Gitao, who is the Autism Special Education from Autism Academy here in Thika. And also we have Jacinta Wamboi, who is a cerebral palsy victim, but of course she was able to overcome. Thank you very much, of course, for joining us. Yeah, and I think you can just try and start by explaining to us what exactly is autism, because maybe many of people do not understand what is this condition by the name autism.
Okay. To begin with, I need to introduce myself. I'm Beatrice Gitao, a special education teacher for a long time. And currently, I'm dealing with autistic children in Autism Academy located in Thika, Starehe Estate, just bordering Thika High School. Yeah. Autism is a condition. And this condition is caused by a brain disorder. So the brain disorder occurs during the first 3 months when a child is in the womb, the first trimester. This is when the brain is being formed, and this is when the brain disorder occurs. The actual cause is not known. Through research, they have not yet come with an actual cause. But generally, we say it is a brain disorder. It is mainly characterized, the characteristics that surround autism disorder are, the first one is hyperactivity. So a child or a person with autism manifests hyperactivity. This means they're not stable. A child lacks concentration span. They move from one place to the other and throwing things about. They also are characterized with lack of social skills. Yeah. You know, with a regular child, the child is wired in such a way, they go through developmental milestones where they develop in every developmental milestone, and they develop social skills. With autism, the child lacks social skills completely. You have to literally teach them greetings, etiquette, and all this that is concerned with social skills, because they are not wired with it. They also lack communication skills. The brain disorder characterizes autism with lack of communication. They have no communication. But we have different types of autism here. I must mention we have classic autism, autism disorder, where they have no communication at all. But we also have Asperger's syndrome, that is also part of autism, where they have intelligence left in their brain and they've developed communication. And we also have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, which is a type of autism. They also develop some communication. So not all of them lack communication, but a type of it, that is autism condition. They also lack imagination. You know, a regular child is wired in such a way that when they grow, they have imagination. Yeah. They can initiate play. They can do role play, father and mother and others. But children with autism lack imagination. They cannot initiate play. They not do any role play, so we teach it to them. Yeah.
And of course, do you have maybe some factors, or maybe the way we can say are some just cause of this condition, autism?
According to research that has been carried out, there is no known cause to autism. No known cause at all. Yeah.
So it is just a biological condition that affects?
Yeah, that causes a brain disorder when the child is in the womb. Yeah, no known cause.
Okay.
Yeah.
And of course now when it comes to cerebral palsy, and having one of our guests here, Wamboi, who was one of the victims, and maybe you can just maybe try to explain to us, according to you, what do you think happened to you that maybe brought about this condition in your life?
Okay. My name is Jacinta Omboy. I was born with cerebral palsy, but ni kitu mzazi hakuja kuelewa, sababu my mama akiwa mjamzito alielezewa kwamba niko na disability kidogo, na ikabidi sasa ambiwe itabidi asiende nyumbani, lakini badala ya kumfanya upasuaji mimi nilitoka na miguu kwa sababu sikujipindua kama wale watoto wengine. So hiyo I think kuvutwa sana ndio kuliniletea shida ya mikono na kukaniletea mambo na kubreathe kwa sababu ilikuwa difficult sana kubreathe. Nilitoka kama nimechoka. And then pia mzazi mwenyewe alikuwa ametoka, nikizaliwa alikuwa pia amechoka, na akienda kupata mtoto aliambiwa itabidi usign form, nyinyi wawili mnaweza pass ama mmoja asurvive. Kwa hivyo nikija kuzaliwa ilikuwa sisi wawili tuende ama mmoja wetu asurvive. But God alisaidia, nilipotoka na miguu niliwekwa immediately kwa oxygen, naye pia akawekwa kwa oxygen maana alikuwa amechoka, na ili take time kusimama. Sababu nilipozaliwa ilibidi nianze therapy nikiwa na 2 weeks. Nikafanya therapy hapa Thika District. Nikafanya mpaka 3 years. Ikabidi sasa ni transferiwe Kenyatta. Nilikuwa nafungwa plaster after 1 week inatolewa na kwa ingine after 1 week. Sasa kwenda Kenyatta ndio hapo nilirudi nikafikisha 5 years, nikarekomendiwa niende Joytown. But nilipoingia Joytown singeweza kujifanyia anything ama kuchukua kikombe ni kunywa maji ama kujifanyia kitu. Tulikuwa tunatumia house mother. So ili take time kuja kusimama na kuja kutembea. Sababu nilikuwa wakati nimefika kitu 11 years naenda nikiguzwa tu na kitu kidogo tu naanguka. Sasa ilibidi niende several operation. By the way, kama sijafikisha 15 years nilikuwa nimeenda kama 20 operation zenye ninajielewa. So kusimama kwangu hasa na kuacha kiatu ambayo inaitwa ni Caripas. Niliacha nikiwa na 15 years ambapo nilienda Kikuyu Hospital. Daktari sasa akaniambia unaweza tumia rubber soles, achane na Caripa, na hapo ndio niliweza kutembea na nikajielewa. Na ili take time pia mimi kujielewa kwamba siwezi vaa viatu kama wale watoto wengine wa kawaida. Itabidi sasa nianze tu kidogo, naenda naanguka hivyo hadi nikasimama na kujisaidia.
Of course, thank you very much. And indeed we can see that right now you can stand and walk. It's such a blessing. And maybe to explain more on that. Yeah, she's just said that when she was born, the way that the mother gave birth became as a challenge, and maybe that is exactly what contributed more problems in her. How does it happen?
Well, you know, a child is supposed to be born through a normal birth. Of course, the position of a normal birth, the head out first. So in her case, the legs out first. So during a normal birth, the child will be born. There's a time span, of course, when the child engages and the child is out and has enough oxygen. But during a time when a mother has a prolonged labor birth, the child engages, lacks oxygen. So during this time before the child is out of the womb, the child lacks oxygen because they are like caught up in between, and this causes brain damage. And it is brain damage that causes cerebral palsy. So cerebral palsy is known to be caused by brain damage during birth, lack of oxygen. It can be also after birth, when the brain is damaged, maybe through a fall or a hit. When the brain is damaged, then also cerebral palsy occurs. So this is the main cause of cerebral palsy, during birth or after birth.
And what exactly parts does cerebral palsy affect?
So when a child lacks oxygen and the brain is damaged, normally the part that is affected is the motor, the one that deals with movement, muscles. So you'll find that a child will have weak muscles that do not grow normally, weak muscles of the jaws, so they cannot even speak, because of course to speak you need movement of all the muscles. Also parts of the body, the limbs, the legs, the muscles don't grow normally, so they are weak. The spinal cord, the neck muscles, they are weak, and so they do not have the normal body stature. So they are very weak, and this is why it is very important for early intervention. Like in her case, she had early intervention, and that is what brought her to be what she is today. But you find many parents, probably because of lack of knowledge, when their child has cerebral palsy, they are kept at home. They're not taken for therapy. And so the muscles remain weak. Communication, they don't develop communication in good time. They're not able to move or walk or sit, hold their neck in good time because of lack of therapy. So the main important thing here, because of the part that is affected, the motor, they're supposed to go through physiotherapy. And we recommend early intervention, which brings best results, like in her case. Today she can walk independently.
And of course, maybe what exactly is the difference between now the autism and the cerebral palsy?
As I said, autism is a brain disorder. During the formation of the brain, there is a disorder. You know, the brain has different parts that regulate different departments of the brain. A part that will deal with social skills, a part that will deal with communication, imagination, intelligence. So when there is a disorder, all these parts are affected. And with cerebral palsy, a child is formed normally, the brain is intact, but it is only damaged during that process. And the only part that normally, in most cases, is destroyed is the part that deals with motor. So the rest of the parts are left. And through physiotherapy, occupational therapy, they can be regained. So that is the main difference. This is a disorder that is there, a condition that is there. The brain has a disorder. This is a brain that damage occurs. And maybe parts of that brain can be restored back through physiotherapy, occupational therapy. That is the main difference.
And of course, now when it comes to autism, it does affect different children and maybe brings out different characters. And how does that happen now? How do you deal with each child with their own condition?
You realize that with autism, every child is unique. They manifest the different characteristics differently. This one may have a characteristic, a stereotype behavior that another one does not have. So each one of them manifests differently. And so we cannot use a general program to teach all the children together. We have what we call an individualized education program. Each child, we assess each child and come up with objectives for every child, depending on their condition. They are all quite different and unique. So we use individualized education program for every child. So we teach them individually, and which means it requires a lot of personnel. We have teachers, teacher aides, occupational therapists to deal with this one child. The occupational therapist deals with speech therapy. They do speech therapy to strengthen the muscles so that at one point of time, the child may be able to develop speech. But of course, we assess first and know what activities to engage the child in. Yes.
Okay, now that's very good. And now that brings us to our break. We're just going for a short break, but you're coming right now. Stay tuned.